Hello and welcome to ArtzieRush. As you can see, we have R2-D2 here. This is actually a request by one of my friends, Michael Fang. He has requested for this about 7 months ago, and I finally got to it. This took me about 23 hours in total to make, including the whole planning and experimenting parts. This one is more of a remodeling than making it right from scratch because this is quite difficult to make. I'm going to show you how I remodeled an existing R2-D2 candy container or a candy package. Here are all the materials I used. A whole pack of this Premo brand white clay, silver, red, black, blue, and gold clay. These are all Premo brand. 2 different sizes of cylinder objects for cutting circles, 30 gauge wires and a color. Different types of blades, dimensional magic, rubbing alcohol and a brush to clean up the dirtiness on the clay, a rolling pin to flat out the clay, super glue, dotting, needle, and a ball too, size 0 silicone shapers, and most importantly is this R2-D2 candy package that I got from Michael's. That's why this is more of a remodeling than making from scratch. I'm using this as the base for the overall form, and you can actually put a note in it. Having this will save a lot of time and clay. So see if you can find this in stores or online. As I mentioned before, even though I have this R2-D2 candy package, I still need to figure out how to turn it into a detailed R2-D2. First step is to roll out a big sheet of white clay and cut out a long rectangle piece. Wrap this clay around the body of the can or the container. Mark where you need to cut off the extras. Blend and smooth out the seams. Use a flat blade to slice off the extra length on the top and the bottom. Roll out another sheet of white clay and cut out a circle to cover the bottom part of the can. Then blend the seams. Take a big ball of the white clay and roll it flat with a rolling pin. Make this circle a little smaller than the bottom of the can. As you can see, this is pretty thick. What you want to do is use a flat blade to press in the perimeter at an angle, so when you look at it in profile view or look on the side, it will look like a trapezoid shape. Once this is done, attach it on the bottom of the can. Flat out the bottom side. And this is how R2-D2's body looks like so far. Now we are moving on to the head. Roll out a flat sheet of the silver clay and start covering the head part. Cut off the extras around the perimeter. Since the head is the cap for the body, we have to cut off the clay egg connection part. Make sure to smooth out the cut edges. Now we can add all the details on the head. Here I'm marking a line around the lower parts of R2-D2's head to get a clean line before placing a long and narrow strip of blue clay on it. This is just to prevent from messing up. When making this, I highly recommend you guys to look at images of R2-D2 at different angles. Alright, so the method or technique I'm using for this R2-D2 remodeling is to cut out the shapes individually instead of painting it on, because I found that by cutting individual shapes on different color polymer clay, it's actually cleaner and nicer looking than painting, unless you can paint straight edges, which I can't, so I chose to just cut different shapes out. For all the indentations on R2-D2, I use different sizes of ball and dotting tools that are close enough to the indents on the robots. Then I fill those indentations with appropriate colors of clay. There are a lot of details, so for most of them, I use silicone shapers to make those details visible. Once the bottom details are done, we are moving on to the top part that has circular design. I'm using this rolling pin to cut out the circle shape since the size is perfect for this R2-D2. I'm just pressing the rolling pin onto the blue clay and freehand cut the shape. Then I use smaller size of cylinder objects to cut these smaller circles. Cut 6 segments of trapezoid shapes from the whole circle. Here is how it looks like. Now we can place these shapes on the top of the head. Take as much time you need for this part because it actually did take me a while to place each pieces on and get it right. So now the head looks like this, which is a lot better than before, doesn't it? I think so. Alright, we're moving to the body. I was thinking about just indenting the division lines between the shapes, but the lines they just look crappy and not straight. So I continued to use the same way as I did with the head, which is by cutting each individual shapes and place them on the body, which took a really long time to do. I'm not going to show you the whole process of cutting each individual shapes because it is easier to know how I did them than watching the same process over and over again. However, I am showing you how I complete one side of the body. Also, take as many breaks as you need because while you are making this, it can tire you out and drive you insane. So this R2-D2 actually took me a few nights. It's not just one day, it's several nights, which I have time to make stuff. So yeah, it was pretty tiring. Oh yeah, and one thing you have to keep in mind is to keep checking the proportion and the size of the shapes in relation to each other, so you kind of have to measure with your eyes visually from the images that you have. There were many trials that I went through to get each shape close enough to the image of R2-D2 without looking way off. For any additional details like lines and dents, I use silicone shapers to help me achieve them, and this is size 0 that I'm using. These silicone shapers are very useful and helpful, so if you can get them, get them. If you're wondering where I get my materials, the clay and all the tools that I use, I will provide those information in the description box below, so make sure to check that out because I do receive messages from you guys asking where I get my materials. part for this body is the detail on the bottom of R2-D2, where there are ridges. So I basically just cut out a bunch of white stripes and place each on, leaving gaps in between. Here is what the body looks like so far. Now we are going to make the arms. Stack a few layers of white clay together, then cut out the shape. Again, make sure to refer back to the images that you have found of R2-D2. Use a flat blade to smooth out the curve. Get it as smooth as you can, but if you can't get it as smooth, you can use a sandpaper to sand the bumps after baking. Cut out a rectangle shape with white and blue clay. Use a bottle to indent the circle part on the arm and fill it in with silver clay. So the blues actually sits on the white, so we have to slice some of the white clay away. Cut out the shape for the lower part and smooth out the curve. This small piece has more details on it, so with the part that curves up, we have to cut a separate piece and add it on the existing one that we had. Make sure to blend the seams. Cut out a rectangle shape of silver clay to cover the flat part as seen here. In order to have a stronger connection, insert a wire in the clay. Now just add the rest of the details on. Make sure to check the proportion and the thickness of the arm to the body because I have found the arm is a bit too thin. So now I have to trace the overall shape on a piece of white clay and then attach that shape to the back of the arm. Cut out a circle shape for the connection joints for the body and the arm. Also cut out a thick shape for R2-D2's foot. Roll out a thin white clay for the details and cut out all the shapes that you need. Cut out a piece of rectangular shape to be attached to the part that was made already. Then cut out a square-ish shape with one side curved. indent a hole on each silver clay and attach it to the rest of the foot. Roll out coils of the gold clay and attach 2 coils on the silver rectangles. Last part before baking is to add the rest of the details on the arm, which I forgot. That's why I'm adding them right now. After that, bake all the parts unattached in the oven. If you are new to baking Polymer clay, make sure to watch my video on it. Link is in the description box. So here is the baked head. To make the lenses have fake glass effect on them, I will use this dimensional magic. Use a needle tool or toothpick to spread the dimensional magic inside the indentation. In order to get a dome shape, I have to reapply several coats on the dry layer. To prevent the liquid from sliding off the indentation, I have to place some stuff underneath the head. Once the dimensional magic has dried and reapplied several times, this is what the clear lens or fake glass looks like. Pretty cool, doesn't it? Now it's time to assemble all the parts together. I use super glue to glue the pieces. For this R2-D2, the arms are not movable, but they can if you add a wire at the joint area when connecting the arm to the silver clay. I didn't think about it at the time when I was making it until I was editing this video, so you can try that out if you want the arm to move. One good thing about using the existing package of this R2-D2 is that you can actually add some stuff inside of it and give it to someone you love. To give this R2-D2 more metallic look, glaze it with a gloss like Dora Clear or water-based polyurethane for the shininess. This is glazed and finished. This creation by far is the longest one I've made. The total time for this took about 23 hours as I mentioned before, and it is a great experience on remodeling an existing base for my candy package. This is actually a very similar project to Naruto scroll pen holder that I've made last year, which you can see the video on the right side of the screen. I hope you have enjoyed this video and learned something, and if you want to see more stuff from me, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Etsy. Thank you so much for watching and keep crafting, guys. Bye!